Here about 30 miles northwest of Pittsburgh, Heinz Field lives again, this time as the home of another iconic football team in southwestern Pennsylvania, Aliquippa. This was one of those Christmas stories I don't think even Hollywood could write. A guy named Rudolph leading his team to a much needed victory 2 days before Christmas. And actually some of the fans left one of their signs behind that they had for the night. Rudolph, guide our sleigh tonight. Now the Panthers will have to get by top-seeded Nebraska in Thursday's game. And if they win that, they will earn a program first appearance in the NCAA final. I asked him today what went into that decision to sit another week. And he said trainers were concerned about his movement and ability to protect himself. The quarterbacks haven't really gotten a chance to work with a lot of the top pass catchers on this team. You figure that might change a little bit starting today after that new 3-year contract for Deontay Johnson. This event is far from the first time Patrick Peterson has lent a hand in a long NFL career. He says he learned a long time ago what just a few hours of your time and a Barbie at Christmas can do for a kid. Enshrined here on the sideline at Gateway High School, Morty Ivy is one of the most prolific players in Gator history. He's now the team's defensive coordinator. He is ingrained in this community, which wrapped its arms around his family in the face of tragedy. A little bit of a mixed reaction from Pittsburgh tonight. On one hand, Troy Polamalu is going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but on the other hand, Alan Faneca will have to wait at least another year before he gets the call. Guys like Isaiah Loudermilk, Chris Wormley, even new draft pick DeMarvin Leal, all making a case to be the next man up come the regular season. Good evening, I'm Shelby Cassesse, and welcome to The Final Word, the show that invites you, the fans, into the conversation. There's little time to reflect on Sunday's Steelers win in Seattle. The team's on a short week with the Ravens ahead on Saturday. And this week, Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is leaving no mystery to the quarterback situation. Mason Rudolph will start in Baltimore.
Shelby.
Well, David, the Steelers don't get eliminated if they lose to the Ravens, but a win greatly increases their chances to make the playoffs. If the Steelers win tomorrow, they only need one other thing to happen. The Penguins are down another top winger. Head coach Mike Sullivan told reporters Brian Rust did not make the trip with the team out west. He's being evaluated for an upper body injury, the bus heading to the Super Bowl. And a little behind the scenes of you, Eli Manning and Victor Cruz doing your best, Olivia Rodrigo. TJ Watt leads Garrett in sacks, quarterback hits, fumble recoveries, passes defended, tackles for loss, interceptions, and touchdowns. And not only that, Garrett had a single sack in Cleveland's final 7 games of the year. TJ Watt should win his second Defensive Player of the Year award, and it shouldn't be particularly close.
Get him, Shelby.
Yeah, Rich, after emergency crews saved Damar Hamlin's life, he and the University of Pittsburgh started several campaigns to help people be ready to save more lives. And with the Pitt soccer star being honored tonight, we are seeing the life-saving impact of that effort. And Pitt Hoops hosting Purdue-Fort Worth tonight. The Panthers controlled the game early. Guillermo Diaz-Graham scored a game-high 13 points, including this dunk to make it a 15-point game in the first half. Zach Austin seemed to be responding after he lost his starting job last week. He scored 12 points, his second straight double-digit night.
Let's check in down on the sidelines. Shelby Cassesse, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Keith Spell took over last week in McKeesport's game against Montour, but on nearly the last play of the game, he was injured while collecting one of 5 sacks on the night. It appeared to be a left knee injury. He said after that game it wasn't feeling great, but he planned to rest up this week, a presence they'll absolutely need tonight against Aliquippa. Head coach Matt Miller telling me on the field this evening, Spell will be a full go. And the way Ray Brazo calls his plays, he has his quarterback Tyson Barron come over after every single play to the sideline and basically whispers it in his ear. He's so quiet, so soft-spoken.
That's old school.
And then he sends Barron back to the huddle to communicate the play. Probably a little too much excitement ahead of last week's semifinal game for Peters Township, guys. Their varsity bus actually broke down outside of the fire hall they were eating at. TJ Plack told me pregame there was a lot of rearranging of people and equipment, and new buses eventually sent, but ultimately they had to send their starters first, and the younger guys didn't make it until about 40 minutes to kick. He did tell me with a laugh that they made it in one piece tonight. Mike, it's an emotional moment for you. Why is that?
I mean, I'm just happy for the kids in the community.
Art, congratulations, back-to-back Whitfield champion. Not an easy thing to do, but I heard you talk about belief over there to your guys. How proud are you of the way they were able to hang in there and roll with the punches throughout this entire 4 quarters?
134 yards, 2 touchdowns on 34 carries, and that's probably a light night for you a little bit. But What makes you physically and mentally able to carry that much workload for your team? Matt told me that he was about to send you in for a package late in the game to finish the game off, and you said, let Jeddick go do it. Yeah. Why did you do that? Peyton, you threw 3 touchdowns tonight to 3 different receivers, 3 touchdowns on the ground for you guys as well. What makes this offense so diverse and dangerous?
Your 5 words on Sideline Canada.
You can't game plan execution. I think truthfully, Matt Canada called probably his best game of the season out there on the sideline. And if that worked for him, if that worked for the guys out there, then far be it for me to have an opinion against it. But Matt Canada could be on the opposing team's sideline for all we care. And if they're not executing on the field, then it doesn't really matter where he's at.
The Falcons are going to run and run and run. And when you don't think they're going to run or you don't think it's the right scenario, they're going to do it. And that's why Marcus Mariota scares me just a little bit. He hasn't had the most overwhelming season, that's true. But as they establish such a diverse and brutal run game, you wonder how frequently Marcus Mariota is going to get the opportunity to take that shot downfield.
We have to feel confident, too, not just by the final score, but by the way this team played tonight, Bob. They were creating chances. They were maintaining puck possession in the offensive zone. And then at the end of the night, when you need your big guns, the ones that you have in at least, to step up, Brian Rust, Jeff Carter do that, get 2 big goals to end this one.
The other guy I thought they contained really well was Leonard Fournette. He's had a lot of success against the Steelers in his time in the league, too, but they contained him to only, I think, an average of 3 yards per carry. And because they were able to do that, it made Brady feel like he could probably just run a pretty vanilla offense. It kept them one-dimensional.
And we feel like it's really going to be what some people will feel is the most underwhelming option, right? Where they stick with who they have in Mason Rudolph, maybe go sign a free agent who isn't that big of a name and have them compete for the starting role. Donovan Burnett is an opposing quarterback's worst nightmare.
Get it, Donnie!
A two-way starter for Penn Hills, team leader in sacks, most recently named All-Conference First-Team Defense.
His effort is unmatched. He's 1,000 miles an hour on every play.
But there's a part of Burnett's story he wasn't always comfortable telling, until now.
I understand what I have gone through and that I can accept the deal of having to have autism, even though it may be in my way sometimes. I'm gonna get through it.
Football has been a key piece of the process, his growth evident to those around him.
He's been way more vocal, whereas though last year he was kind of reserved and just trying to see where he fits in at. And now I think he sees himself as a huge part of what we're trying to do.
More importantly, it's a transformation Burnett sees within himself.
More like a lot spoken and hype about what I do instead of being shy and lonely about it and not talking about it. And now I can. And now I have a word to say to those around me, and that matters a lot.
The junior already has his sights set on college football and even the NFL. But for now, he and his brothers, as he calls them, are working toward one big goal together.
We have very talented and determined athletes that are willing to push through blood and bones just to make us get to the championship, win it, go to states and win it all.
When Landon Strassnyder and his mom showed up to the Steelers practice facility here on the south side, they knew they'd be taking a tour. What they didn't expect was who would serve as their guide.
When we came through the tunnels, you see the city, and I said, I'm so happy that we're coming in one time to do something fun.
Since Landon was diagnosed with leukemia earlier this year, most of his trips to Pittsburgh include a stop at Children's Hospital. But for just a little while one Tuesday, the doctors, treatments, and tests took a back seat.
The look on his face, especially when Kenny walked in, we had no idea he was coming here.
Landon's tour included a glimpse at the 6 Super Bowl trophies and even a round of catch on the practice field. Obviously a big hit with the 6th grader from Ohio.
What did you enjoy most?
Catching the pass with Kenny.
For Pickett, an hour of his day in exchange for lasting impact.
He's a huge Steeler fan. I could see it in his eyes when he walked through here. He had a smile on his face, walking around the facility. Having a catch was awesome with him. So, I had a great day. I hope he did too.
With an autographed football and new Steelers gear in hand, Landon returned home with a smile and a pretty good idea of what he plans to tell his friends about his big day with QB1.
Brag about it.
Landon's visit was through Connecting Champions, a nonprofit that helps kids with cancer team up with new mentors and build friendships. With the Steelers on the South Side, Shelby Cassesse, Channel 11 News.